Okay, my note just said we're streaming. Is that right, Brian? Are we up and going?
One moment. I just want to verify one thing here.
Okay.
And yeah, you're good to go. Proceed
Okay.
with your meeting. Thank you.
All right, we'll do it. All right, and we will go ahead and call the September 15th Park Board, Branson Park Board meeting to order. Cindy and Brian have got the notes on who is here. So we've got our 6-person quorum. So we'll let that go as our roll call. And we're going to get right to the voting items. And Candy is not here, so as Vice Chair, I'll be conducting tonight's meeting. I assume everyone present's had a chance to review the minutes of August the 18th. If so, I'll take a motion and second to approve.
I'll move.
I'll second.
Second.
Okay, so we got Andrew first, and I think Micah got the second there. If no further discussion, all in favor of approving the minutes? Aye.
Aye.
Or raise hand,
Aye.
however you want to do that. Okay, so minutes have been approved for August the 18th. All right, Cindy, I know we wanted to jump on this early tonight. We got a couple of contracts that need to have our approval tonight, so I'll turn it over to you to introduce this.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it. So some of you who've been on the board for quite some time know we have annual revenue contracts that are brought to the board to approve. And then some of those actually go on to city council. And one of them tonight is the way. So the first revenue contract or lease agreement is with Senior Age. That I've had that agreement since 1991 when the community center was built, and Senior Age is the meal program that leases space at the community center that offers the meals for seniors. And so they have been shut down since March to in-house meals, but they are been serving frozen meals, and then they've been doing the home delivery. So this contract or this lease agreement has not changed since last year. They pay $400 a month for that. I think it was last probably up to a few years ago, but the contract has not changed. It allows them to have use of the kitchen facility, shared use of the dining area in the building. They have a few offices. You all have seen this lease before, so I think I would just throw it out to questions if anybody has any. Scott?
Yeah, and if anyone, and as you said, the contract's pretty much standard. It's been the same, and especially under these circumstances, I don't really see any reason to change it right now. It seems to be going well. Does anybody else on the board have questions about this?
I'd like to ask a few questions, just being new to the contract process. Is that okay?
Go ahead, Scott. Absolutely.
I'm presuming the city doesn't carry any debt on this building any longer. Is that true, or?
Yes, that's true. I mean, the building was built in 1991, and yes, we don't have any debt. This is
29 years, so, yeah. As far as the lease monies go, I know in the lease, I think page 2, it identifies items A through G, which are expenses that the lease helps cover. Am I reading that correctly?
actually, yes, those, it's just suggesting, hey, the lease agreement, the lease money is meant to defer expenses related to that. They actually incur their own expenses, Scott, related to, they're on propane. So any of the operation of like their ovens and things of that nature, they pay for that themselves.
Right.
But yes, it's just giving examples of what the lease money goes to help defer our costs.
Do we see those expenses at any time during the year? I don't recall.
Yeah, so yes, in our financials, which we don't have a financial report on this month because they were behind. Jamie Roush had indicated they were behind a little bit. So when I give that financial presentation, normally on a monthly basis, you see a line item for the community center and it shows the
Okay.
revenues and expenses. And I can say to you, I mean, the community center was not built as a revenue producing operation. It's a senior operation. So
Right.
whereas say the pool or concessions or even our special events are meant to try to recoup and offset as many dollars as possible, the community center was not really built with that thought in mind. We're subsidizing this operation to help support seniors in our area.
Do we at all set aside any reserves for future expenditures on the building, or how do we take care of the parking lot or things of that nature?
Sure. So that would be done through our annual operating budget. And so we often, up to a certain dollar figure, we will budget for replacement of chairs, replacement of tables. Tracy Burrow is the one that will suggest that budget to the assistant director and I, and then our budget's getting ready to get approved or being reviewed by city council. But bigger items, those would be capital projects, Scott. And so like, for example, I built an addition onto the community center many, many years ago. And so that was done through capital projects. So either operating or capital is how we support that cost of the operation.
So are those, let's just say hypothetically, there was a major parking lot repair. Is that then you go into budget period requesting those funds as operational funds as a capital expenditure, but there's no reserve money set aside annually from receipts. Okay.
No.
That's all I was curious about. So, okay.
Okay, anybody else have any questions? Okay, with this being an item, a contract item, we do need a motion and a second to approve this, please.
Motion.
So moved.
Okay, Andrew's got either the motion or the second.
Either
I
one's
think,
fine,
I think
Scott.
the second was Clark Harris.
Yeah,
Okay,
the
that
second
sounds good.
part. Yeah.
All right, we got a motion and a second, so all in favor, aye?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that one passes. Now, the next contract is the John Morse Equipment Contract, and this is actually one that we have to recommend for city council approval. So Cindy, go ahead.
Yeah, so the ones that go to city council, there's different thresholds. The revenue contract for the last one is under the 5,000. So it just goes to our board and then it goes to the city administrator for his signature. And the second contract, since it's over the $5,000 threshold, actually goes to city council. So that's why I wanted to kind of move forward with those today. This contract has not changed since last year either. We went out to bid last year, and then we're able to provide renewal. And this is a renewal of that. Their pricing has not changed. In fact, their pricing has not changed for a really long time. So if you're staying at the Branson Lakeside RV Park and you want to wash your clothes, right? They provide, we have a little laundry area. John Morse provides washers. I think there's 6 washers and dryers and soap. And so this is their VIN price. It's $2 to wash. It's $1.75 to dry. And then they have soap. And the city of Branson received a 56% commission on that. And again, this is the same contract as last year. So that would be my summary, Scott.
Right. So this basically, I mean, you kind of explained this earlier. So this is basically one of our, I guess, revenue sources down at the campground that has, I guess, done pretty well for us.
It really has. This year has definitely seen a decline. I would estimate, I'm estimating in the 2021 revenue budget that we're expecting to bring in about $8,600 based on past history, mostly based on 2019. But in this year, we have definitely seen a decline, which is really interesting because, you know, you've been following our financials for our campground, and we've really seen ever since March and April that we saw a decline, we've done pretty well. And so what that says is people aren't using the laundry during COVID, and interesting situation. So we're hoping we'll see that come back moving forward. So hopefully that explains that. But yes, this revenue is a revenue stream for our campground.
Anyone else on the board have a question about this? Okay, so what we need here is I need a motion and a second to recommend this contract for approval to city council, please.
Motion.
Okay, Andrew's got the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I believe Mike had got the second in there. So if there's no further discussion, all in favor? Aye?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, so that motion carries, and Sydney, that contract will be recommended for approval by city council. So thank you for that. And as I think, if if you weren't on early in the meeting, we are going to skip item 3 on the agenda this month, the marketing presentation. We'll save that for next month when we have some more of the membership present. So we'll get to park update, and we would have done this at the first meeting, but I wanted to get to the voting items. But Cindy, you probably want to introduce our new person that's on our call here tonight.
Yeah, I'm excited to introduce Brian. He's the one kind of figuring out how to do the meeting agenda. So thanks to him for that. And Brian, if you have time, maybe Brian can say a few words about his background and what he comes to us from Virginia.
Go ahead, Brian.
Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here. Glad to be a part of the team. As Cindy said, I come from Virginia, but I'm actually originally from Illinois. I have going on 27 plus years of experience in the business and doing a variety of things over those years. Heavy emphasis on athletics, but have dabbled in just about everything in Parks and Recreation, and have a lot of passion and enthusiasm and love what we're doing here. This is a great opportunity. Absolutely love it. I've been here about 3 weeks and it's been great.
So I got to ask, how in the world did you find us? Were you looking at heading this way, or did it just kind of the opportunity present itself?
Well, unfortunately, in the previous job in Virginia, our administration shut down our operation, and it was really a killer for me. As I said, I have a lot of passion for what I do, and so I'm actually free to kind of go wherever. And I noticed it on one of the websites, and I applied for the job, and I'm very happy and appreciative of the opportunity that Cindy has provided. It's been great so far.
Well, excellent. Anyone else have any questions or comments for Brian? We welcome you. And as I said before we started, we will eventually we'll have a meeting, and I'll let you know on everything. First off, Cindy, I got to ask, has he met Candy yet?
No, he has not met Candy, but he did get to meet Jason. Jason came to our garage sale and
nice.
kind of helped us set up, and we were short-staffed a little bit. So he's got to meet a lot of the staff. He's taking time to have individual meetings with people. And I'd just like to say, I'm really excited about Brian being here. He has a lot of years in the field. It's always wonderful to get a fresh perspective. He has a lot of experience running sports complexes, and I think he can bring a lot of knowledge to the department. I think it's going to be great. So excited about it.
Yeah, and then we do stay pretty busy, as I'm sure you've been filled in on by the rest of the staff. So Brian, welcome, and glad to have you on the team here. With that, Cindy, I'm going to go ahead and let you get into the rest of your park update here.
Sure. So one of the things I've been trying to do every month is, have some really similar items, and a park day update is one of them. And if you all remember last month, Jim Cartwright came, our maintenance supervisor, and I kind of asked him. I've been trying to ask other people to come to meetings because I'm sure you get tired of hearing me talk all the time. But the park update is, our ability to kind of talk about what's happening in the parks. And, most of it is after our season ends, or, usually after our tournament season ends in August, we immediately start turning to, that's our time to really focus on the parks. And so I know this week and the last few weeks, Jim Cartwright and his maintenance staff have been focusing on replacing bulbs. And I know Mike is playing soccer, so they probably like to see when they play soccer. So they've got a big crane truck, and they've been replacing the lights in the ball fields and the soccer fields. So that's they go up. I don't know how high they go up, but it is really high. So I think they have to get the guys who aren't afraid of heights to go up and do that. We've also been doing a little bit of painting down at our pickleball court that we have. So that's probably going to be an annual or semi-annual thing to go do touch-up painting. They've been working on that. The pickleball people are still just gangbusters down there all the time. And Jim's got a note here. We got caught up on mowing. So as you all know, it got dry for, 3 weeks, and then it's been really raining. And so we trying to get caught up on our mowing with that. Soccer is about getting ready to start in a couple weekends ago. So they've been out lining and painting fields at Alexander and Stockstill. I think that's where Micah has practiced tonight, at Stockstill. And so if you've been by those facilities, our goal is really to, as we've talked about in the last few meetings, mitigate our crowds and really spread that out and find a way to not only have practices, but at games at different facilities. So we're mitigating our crowds. So we've been working on that. Oh, I
Can I jump
hope
in real quick?
Clark may have just tuned out. We got some money with CARES, and that's something that several people have been asking about. Remember Jamie Roush was at our last meeting and there were questions about CARES. So we've got reimbursement from CARES for our first phase. And some of that was the staff time during the shutdown. If you all remember, we were eligible for we did some grocery shopping for seniors, and we did a lot of virtual stuff that Carly and some of the folks did. So we got reimbursement from CARES in the amount of $5,438. So we were very excited about that. And
Nice.
we were actually the largest department. That was the largest check of the departments. Now the second phase, will be another story. People will be asking for reimbursement of different things. We're moving forward and purchasing some sanitizing things that will help us in some of the public bathrooms and bleachers and things of that nature. So that's the second phase of it. So hopefully have great news moving forward. So I hope Clark heard that because I know that's been a big thing of his. We've been doing some park cleanups. Go ahead. I'm sorry,
I'm
Scott.
sorry. I think Micah had something a moment ago and I didn't. Micah, you still there?
I am, yes. I didn't mean to interrupt, but thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to say we started football down there a couple of weeks ago at Stockstill. And our first night, the grass was a little long. By the time we came back for our second week of practice, it had been mowed and it looked fantastic. And so continuing soccer down there it's been great. We had our first games at the high school. And I just want to tell you how much I appreciate the high school letting us play and the junior high too. And I know you probably do as well, Cindy. But I just felt like everything was spaced out really well. Everybody was really comfortable. The fields were put together. I feel like the first week of football games went really well, considering it's a new program for us. So just on the topic of grass, but anyway, just want to say good job to everybody that's been working on fields and coordinating all that. So.
Micah, thanks for saying that. I'll pass that on to Jim. It is hard. Sometimes you do get behind. I mean, I'm not going to lie. We do get behind in mowing sometimes, especially when it's raining for several days. So it's really, as game season comes on, we really want to do that. So what I hear you saying is you have kids playing soccer and football.
Yeah, I've got two of each this season. The boys are playing football and the girls are both playing soccer. So yeah, we're just all over the place this season.
That's the definition of multitasking right there.
That's why I'm so glad. That's why I'm so glad Mike is back on the board, so I can always hear what we're doing good and what we're not in some of our programs. Because
I know poor Carly. Every time I run into her, which is not often, but we always sit and chat about something. So she avoids me, and I screen her phone calls for coaching requests.
Well, speaking of Carly, she's the one leading the flag football program. And if you were out there, she actually refereed a football game on Saturday. I think a referee or some didn't show up. I'm not quite sure. And she's actually had to coach a team until she got a coach. And Carly's dad was the football coach at Ozark. So she knows a thing or two. And so, but yeah, thank you so much for sharing that. And I was just going to conclude in the park update, Scott, that the other thing that we're doing is we're cleaning up some of the parks. We're mulching the trail at Caudell, and we're also getting ready for Autumn Days. We kind of support that event coming up in downtown. So that's kind of it for my park update.
Yeah, and just to tag on to events going on, you mentioned the garage sale earlier. How'd everything go with that? You muted there, Cindy. There you go.
If it's okay, Scott, I'll just move into the next item, which is the upcoming programs and events. The garage sale went great. And so if any of you, I think I saw Andrew there at a distance.
Yeah,
We really
was there.
worked hard. We worked hard to mitigate the crowd. And so we didn't just have the garage sale up here at the Recplex like we did in past. We had kind of half of it here and half of it down in the ball field. So I think from the standpoint of mitigating crowds and having plenty of space, which was kind of what Micah was keen on, that part of it was very successful. So I felt good about it. What did you think, Andrew?
I enjoyed it. Two things for future reference. First time I've been out there, it looked better and felt a whole lot more open with both sites. So after this COVID nonsense is over, we may want to continue doing that because it looks like we may have had more vendors. One of the things I did notice, I want to say there were like 2 vendors that were selling drinks and baked goods. Maybe for the next one, set up something similar for the Parks and Rec department, having a small concession stand or someplace where they could get concessions, because that would be maybe generate some revenue. And then I saw some dogs, and I also saw a goat, which was kind of neat.
That's great. I appreciate your feedback. It's always good. This has really been an evolution, the garage sale, as some of you have been through the years. We had 77 booths and there were a few no-shows, but it was something I was really worried about. And I mean, spreading out to the 2 different parking lots, I thought was really awesome. I thought I was out there the whole time. I thought it felt really good. So I appreciate the positive feedback and your suggestions, Andrew, on that. So yeah, Scott, I appreciate you asking. I felt like it went good.
Yeah, it sounded like, and I think Andrew's suggestion is a good one. It seems like, I mean, I didn't get a chance to get out there, but it seems like to have that, could even leave you some room for expansion in the future once we are over COVID. But I just think the open space, I think there's just something to be said for that, and not everyone having to be compacted down even in normal situations.
Absolutely. And just to continue on the programs, I was going to just give an update real quick on how we're doing. So right now, we just finished when we had our doggy swim last weekend, and that went great. We had 90 dogs and 177 people. So that was up from 88 dogs and 140 some people the year before. So I was very surprised about that. A lot of people wait to the last minute it's actually on Labor Day. So they wait to the last minute sometimes because they're waiting to see how the weather plays out. Some of you that may know long time ago, former director Randy Warner, he was there. It was great to catch up with him. He brought his dog and there was a lot of good time there. Everybody gets a Culver's pup cup when they leave. So that's, the dogs really enjoy that. Micah mentioned flag football. So this is our first year to do flag football. The high school asked us to kind of take over that program. And while it's not a large program, we have 11 teams. I was also out there. It was the same day as our garage sale, and I thought it went really great. Excited to be able to partner with them. We also have soccer going on right now. And last year in 2019, we had 61 teams. And now in 2020, we have 57 teams. So I was shocked that we were only down 4 teams. So I thought that was just fantastic. So really good. Excited about that. We'll have our first games toward the end of September. We're practicing right now. And then lastly, volleyball. Last year in 2019, we had 22 teams. This year we had 16 teams. So definitely we're seeing some impact of COVID, but I feel good about kind of how we're handling those things. And that's really kind of what's just been happening, what's happening now. And then tonight, Tracy Burrow is doing her first girls' night out since kind of the shutdown. And so actually that's where Marsha's at. Marsha's down there doing girls' night out. They've got mason jars. I don't even know what they're doing. They're doing something, a craft. And then we've got, coming up, we've got 2 new Halloween events where we're not doing Bonanza this year. It's, we don't want to bring those crowds in. So we've got a couple of new events that we're working on that will serve to be much more smaller events. One is a hay ride for the kiddos. and the small ones, and then the older ones is our haunted barn. So that's meant to be a smaller, more intimate than the thousands of people that came to Bonanza. So that's kind of what we've got going on.
And are so both of those going to be one day events like Bonanza was?
They're actually not. So again, great.
Yeah.
Thank you, Scott, for it's spread out over 4 days in the evening. So again, meant to kind of mitigate crowds, and everything we're trying to do is designed to, socially distant and bring in small crowds. So Tuesday through Friday nights, you can sign up for those on our website, and we're starting to advertise those now. So Carly made, if any of you are on our Facebook, Carly made just a great video kind of teasing the event. So you'll be seeing more information about that coming up soon.
Excellent. All right, we are going to go ahead and go into members' reports. And if anybody has any questions about what you just heard from Cindy, you can ask them at that point. And I think I'm gonna go to our multitasking mama first. So Micah, you got anything?
Oh, hold on. I'm unmuted, sorry.
That's all right.
We're trying to get in the car and leave. No, I'm good, thank you. Just the comments about soccer and football. Everything's going great.
Excellent. Andrew, you got anything?
At the moment, no.
Okay.
Probably at first, but I digress.
Scott Weist, anything from you?
Just real quick, and Cindy, you got to help me. I can't remember who's sponsoring the Trail Summit, the Missouri.
It is Missouri Parks and Recreation Association, and you're signed up, right, Scott?
Yeah. So maybe a month ago, somehow, some way, came across my email that there's a state trail summit being held virtually. Various topics. One that highly interests me is funding of trails. And I spoke with Cindy about that. I believe Cindy's got a staff member that's going to be virtually attending. And I've asked if it's okay at my own cost, I'm going to attend it too. I really think, maybe there's some opportunities out there to further pursue that Cindy and I have discussed a little bit more. You kind of recognize, Scott, you're out on the trails a lot, hoofing it around, trying to keep that cardiovascular going. And
Yeah.
we all realize the beauty of the area. My wife and I, a few weeks ago, just to get away for a few days, went down to the Ponca, Marshall, Arkansas area. And, we're in a part of the country that's, referred to as the Ozarks, and we're just part of that. And I just think more and more with the COVID thing and us seeing people getting outside and doing things, that's a wave of the future.
Scott, I completely agree. I think that now is the time. I think people are just rediscovering a lot of these. My wife loves to take pictures, so we've gone out on some weekends, not only in the city, but just around the county and around the area doing the same thing. I think there's a demand for this starting to increase again.
I agree. And some people who know me don't quite understand. On my Facebook page, I got a bunch of pictures of butterflies and plants and things, but it's fun stuff. And especially when you're empty nesters, and now that Denine's retired from teaching, there's even more time, for her to find things to do. I still got to carve it out, but I'm excited to sit in on this and then maybe spend a little time with Cindy and staff. And I've spoke with, some of you, Scott, I know, and some others know that in the past, there have been some movements or efforts that maybe fizzled out a little bit on trail development. I know it's been happening, but it's been slow and moving. And I'm not sure we had at least strong continued advocacy, especially from the private sector. It's got to be definitely private, public, foundational, a marriage of those areas moving forward. That's how we've seen the growth of the Greenways Trail system up in Springfield. That's how we've seen the growth, although Walmart has a big role in it down in Northwest Arkansas. maybe they're gonna run out of trails to invest in down there, and maybe we get them to start looking in this area. So I just feel like if we keep pressing it forward, we can maybe, hopefully, fingers crossed, see some really cool things happen in that area. So I just sharing, I'm going to attend that. That's next Tuesday. If is that the 22nd? I think it's next Tuesday. So yeah. That's all I got.
Yeah. I think that's going to be a good opportunity for getting some information. Like I said, I see more people. I saw more people at the parks this year, walking a lot, and just down on people are getting outside again. I mean, it's good. I do a lot of features with the conservation department. I've been talking to a lot of the agents, and they've said the same thing. People are getting outside, and I think we have an opportunity here. I mean, I think we have an opportunity to really capitalize on that and maybe get some demand. Jamie, I don't think I've been to you yet. Jamie, you got anything for us on the report? I think he said through the mute, I'm good.
I'm good. Yep, you got it. So.
All right. Okay, is there anything else from anybody before we wrap up here? All right, well, I think that's going to take care of things then. I think we actually officially dropped the floor. Go ahead.
I was going to ask Jamie maybe just to expound a little bit on the ordinance, and I can't remember how long did you extend the ordinance to? And
October 14th.
Okay, so it'll be another revisit of it in mid-October.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think if I remember the calendar, I think the next meeting is actually the day before that on the 13th. So whatever happens then, if they decide not to renew it, then we'll just go out the next day. So I guess we'll be talking about that next month again too. So, yep. And I know Jamie just loves talking about it. I'm sure he's got no feedback or anything on that. So
yeah.
you guys got to be thinking your timing was perfect getting on council, wasn't it?
Yeah, I'll call it that.
Okay. Anybody else got anything else before we wrap up? All right. Seeing that, I think we'll go ahead and call the meeting adjourned, and thank you all for attending, and we'll do this again next month. Brian, welcome. Cindy, thank you.
Thank you so much, Scott. I appreciate you filling in for Candy. Thanks for all that you do. I look forward to talking to you all next month.
All right.
Thank you all.
See y'all later.